Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss the article of Indian Express that is Rising Sea in India and the World, threat freshly assessed and what changes. So this is study done for 2050 and in this it was shown that cities with the highest annual flood coast by 2050. You can see over here in most of the South Asian part it was there. Then a new study claims to remove overestimation in the assessment of land elevation in coastal area. As a result, it finds that much larger area of land were threatened by raising the sea levels because of the climate change. So the main factor behind all this is the climate change. So let us go ahead in brief. So the number of people in India threatened by rising sea level is at least 7 times more than previously estimated. A new research has revealed. The research published in Nature Communication has found large area of the eastern as well as western coastlines under threat of rising the sea levels, including Mumbai on the west and Kolkata on the east. It says 36 million people along the Indian coastal line currently live on land that will fall below the annual flood level by 2050, exposing them to risk of flooding, damage to infrastructure, loss of livelihood or permanent displacement. The previous estimate was of 5 million people in this area being exposed to this risk. Researchers Scott Kulp and Benjamin Strauss of Climate Central, an independent organization of climate scientists, have reported that they have developed new tools that measures the elevation of land from mean sea level with much greater accuracy than earlier model. Their study claims that previously method to measure the land elevation suffered from large errors in most of the world apart from the US, Australia and the parts of Europe. Land elevation data in most of these other areas came from satellite measurements done by a NASA project called Shutter Radar Topography Mission or SRTM. So the threat projection, if we see, then the study says the error in the measurement came from the fact that often the tops of trees or buildings were taken to the protrusions of the earth. Thus, SRTM measure even in the coastal cities of the US often overestimate the land elevation by as much as 15.5 feet on an average. The new tool called Coastal DEM, Coastal Digital Elevation Model, which uses the artificial intelligence and machine learning on 51 million data samples, brought down this error to less than 2.5 inch on an average. So the study claims to remove overestimation of the assessment of land elevation in coastal area. As a result, it finds that much larger area of land were threatened by rising the sea level because of the climate change. Consequently, a significant higher population group was at risk, and the study found that 300 million people and not 80 million as estimated earlier across the globe were currently living in the area that were below the annual coast flood line. By the turn of this century, the land that is now home of 200 million of these people would be permanently below the high tide line. Almost 80% of these 300 million people lives in China, Bangladesh, India, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, China alone account for 43 million. So here the map shows a map of Mumbai based on new study and prepared by the New York Times shows a much higher threat projection than earlier. This is done by NYT, New York Times. So when we talk about the vulnerable areas in India, so western coastal line near the new tool was found in the particular the western coastal line near Bhuj, Jamnagar, Porbandar, Surat, Bharuch and Mumbai are much more susceptible to raising sea levels than earlier assessment. On the eastern side, almost the entire coastal line of West Bengal and Odisha have been found under threat, except for some areas near Kakinada. The threats to the coastal line of the southeastern states have not been affected by the new measurement. The study has serious prediction for Earth by 2050. By that year, projected sea level rise could push average annual floods above land currently home to some 36 million people. West Bengal and coastal Odisha are projected to a particular vulnerable as it is a eastern city of Kolkata, as it says by this study. So that's all for today. We had discussed all this. This is the data to be connected with 2050. This was the data for 2050. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like, then share with your friends so all will get benefited.